Welcome to USA Trending Update, and I am Papu. What you are about to hear has stunned tennis fans, analysts, and even seasoned insiders who thought they had already seen everything this sport could deliver. This is wild, and that phrase alone still feels like an understatement when describing the latest move by Alex Eala. Across social media, across locker rooms, across expert panels and private group chats, one question keeps echoing again and again. Did Alex Eala just change the rules of her own future? The answer, according to many who follow the game closely, is yes, and the ripple effects are only beginning to unfold. Alex Eala has always been described as a prodigy, a disciplined competitor, and a symbol of the new generation of global tennis talent. But this moment feels different. This move was not just about rankings, not just about points, and not just about a single tournament or result. This was a statement, one that challenged expectations and forced even the most confident experts to pause mid-sentence and rethink what they thought they knew about her path, her strategy, and her long-term vision. For years, analysts have spoken about Alex Eala in careful, measured language. They praised her footwork, her court intelligence, her mental strength, and her ability to adapt under pressure. They predicted steady growth, gradual milestones, and a patient climb. What happened now shattered that script. The move she made came faster, bolder, and more decisively than many anticipated. It wasn't reckless, but it was fearless. And in the world of elite sports, fearlessness at the right moment can redefine a career. The reaction was immediate. Former players watching from commentary boxes fell silent before breaking into animated debate. The coaches, who usually hedged their words, spoke openly about being surprised. Social media lit up with reactions ranging from disbelief to admiration. Some fans called it genius. Others called it risky. But almost everyone agreed on one thing: Alex Eala had just forced the entire tennis conversation to revolve around her. To understand why this move matters so much, you have to understand the context. Alex Eala's journey has been closely watched from the very beginning. As a young athlete, representing a region that continues to rise in global tennis relevance, she carried expectations that were both inspiring and heavy. Every match was framed as a test. Every loss was dissected. Every win was celebrated as a sign of something bigger to come. Through it all, she maintained a calm, focused demeanor that suggested maturity. Beyond her years, experts often talked about her timeline. They mapped out seasons, projected breakthroughs, and penciled in likely turning points. This moved and followed that timeline. It jumped ahead of it. It said in no uncertain terms that Alex Eala was no longer content to simply meet expectations. She was ready to challenge them. What makes this even more fascinating is how quiet the build-up was. There was no dramatic teasing, no loud announcement that screamed for attention. When the move became public, it felt almost sudden. That silence beforehand only added to the shock. It suggested confidence, preparation, and a belief that the decision didn't need external validation before being made. Industry insiders began asking deeper questions almost immediately. What does this say about her team? What does it reveal about her confidence in her current form? Is this a calculated, long-term strategy or a moment of instinct driven by momentum? The truth likely lies somewhere in between. But one thing is clear. This was not accidental. Alex Eala's supporters argue that this move reflects her understanding of the modern game. Tennis today is not just about talent. It's about timing, branding, adaptability, and courage. Waiting too long can be just as dangerous as moving too fast. By stepping forward now, she positioned herself as someone who believes in her readiness, not someday, but today. Critics, of course, have raised concerns. They point out the pressures that come with such a leap. Expectations rise instantly. Scrutiny intensifies. Every result is magnified. There is less room for quiet development and more demand for immediate payoff. These are valid concerns, and Alex Eala knows them better than anyone. Yet the very fact that she proceeded anyway is what has left experts speechless. Former champions have weighed in, noting that career-defining moments often look risky. In the moment, they recall times when they themselves took leaps that seemed premature to outsiders but proved essential to their growth. They emphasize that greatness rarely comes from playing it safe forever. At some point, belief has to turn into action. The fan reaction has been equally intense. Supporters flooded comment sections with messages of pride and excitement. Many described feeling inspired not just as tennis fans but as people watching a young athlete trust her instincts on a global stage. Others admitted feeling nervous but hopeful, acknowledging that discomfort often accompanies progress. What's particularly striking is how this move has reframed conversations about Alex Eala's identity as a player. She is no longer discussed only in terms of potential. The language has shifted toward presence and impact. She is being talked about as someone shaping her own narrative rather than fitting into one created for her. Sponsors, media outlets, and tournament organizers are watching closely. Moves like this don't just affect match schedules or rankings. They influence visibility, opportunity, and long-term positioning in the sport. A bold decision can open doors just as quickly as it raises stakes. Alex Eala appears to understand this balance, and that understanding is part of what has impressed observers the most. Another layer to this story is what it represents for the next generation. Young players watching Alex Eala see someone who is willing to step forward with confidence even when the path isn't fully mapped out. That message carries weight. It suggests that preparation is not just about waiting for permission, but about recognizing when you are ready to claim your space. Experts who initially struggled to react have since begun to analyze the move with greater depth. They talk about how it aligns with her recent performances, her evolving style of play, and her growing mental resilience. They note that while the risk is real, so is the upside. And in a sport where momentum can be everything, seizing it at the right moment can change everything. Behind the scenes, those close to Alex Eala describe a player who is thoughtful, driven, and deeply invested in her growth. This move, they say, reflects months of internal discussion, analysis, and self-assessment. It wasn't a sudden impulse. It was the result of asking hard questions and being brave enough to accept the answers. The phrase experts speechless may sound dramatic, but in this case it fits. Tennis is a sport filled with opinions, predictions, and constant commentary. For a move to momentarily quiet that noise speaks volumes. It means the decision cut through assumptions and forced a reset in thinking. As the dust begins to settle, one thing remains certain. Alex Eala has entered a new chapter. This chapter will come with challenges, scrutiny, and moments of doubt, but it will also come with opportunity, growth, and the chance to redefine what success looks like on her own terms. The coming weeks and months will reveal how this move translates on the court. Results will matter, as they always do, but regardless of outcomes, this moment has already achieved something significant. It has established Alex Eala as an athlete who is not afraid to take ownership of her journey. In sports, there are moments that feel like turning points even before the results are known. This feels like one of them. It's a reminder that progress is rarely linear and that sometimes the boldest steps are taken not when certainty is guaranteed but when belief is strongest. As fans, analysts, and fellow players continue to watch closely, the conversation around Alex has undeniably shifted. She is no longer just part of the future discussion. She is part of the present one, and that more than anything else explains why this move has left experts speechless. Stay with us on Trending Now USA as we continue to follow this unfolding story. This is Papu.